Hello there guys! Welcome back to NekoPara Volume 1. Now what's the occasion? Well, I decided that since there are plans to make an anime, I figured I should try playing a little bit more, just to see where the story takes us. Now, it's not going to actually happen, but it will if it can get the funds via Kickstarter. So I'll be sure to link the Kickstarter in the description if you want to help. That would be great. Anyway, now where we left off is good question, where have we left off? Well, I think it's the whole should we stay or should we go? Anyway, let's continue. She spoke quietly in her usual way. Vanilla tilted her head as she asked that question. You two aren't bad cat girls, and that's why I can't have you stay here. It's because you two are good cat girls that I can't allow it. Stare. She blinked as she took in my words. It was almost as if she was trying to peer inside my heart. See, I flub too much. She stared directly at me, long and hard. Ooh, Vanilla. Vanilla. Ah, yes, I remember now. We told them that they couldn't stay, and this time we really put our foot down, and Chocola was upset. At least I think so. I should really have watched the last episode just so I could have known what had happened up to this point. With those words, she went upstairs. The sound of her small footsteps slowly disappeared, and before long I couldn't hear them anymore. Humans are hard to understand, huh? Inside the bakery, now devoid of anyone but myself, I repeated those words she had just said to me. Now that I think about it, that's a pretty inconsistent way of thinking, isn't it? Cats do not understand that. I wouldn't imagine they would. Having heard that said aloud, I began to understand what it really meant. It must be pretty nice to live the simple life of a cat girl, huh? I pondered as I looked at the name of the bakery affixated to the window. With a bitter smile, I began to clean up the tea sets that had arrived earlier. Oops, sorry about that, that's my chair. NekoPara. Interlude. Just like yesterday? Oh, god damn it. Bite my tongue. Just like yesterday, we took a walk through the park in the evening. However, that food stand was nowhere to be found. It just so happened that no one was home on the day I decided to take the two cat girls home. I had also happened to leave the house key behind. Something tells me this might be the work of fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it. So to make good use of time, I went to do some shopping before Shigure got home. Drugs! They're druggies! They're talking about drugs. Are they really so good? Mind you, it's funny. Cats are allowed drugs that make them hallucinate, but we can't. But then I suppose cats aren't really going to do much bad. That isn't the right word at all. Chocola, if you're tired, why don't we rest a bit? They're so sweet. I don't like it, it's not fair. Well, I like it, but it's not fair. There's no need for you to apologise. She had a troubled smile on her face as she nodded. It was pretty clear why she wasn't in good spirits. Because he's a dick. That's why there was nothing I could really say to her. Well, there happens to be a bench over there, so why don't we rest a bit? Ah, thanks. Something for everyone, okay? I hope you don't mind the whole, me speaking the character in English while they're in Japanese. Mind you, if you've watched this far, it clearly doesn't bother you, so I'll keep doing it, unless you want to tell me otherwise. I handed Vanilla some change and offered the bench to Chocola. Oh, she's so sad. The constant sea breeze rustled the trees in the park. All that could be heard throughout the empty park were the quiet sounds of nature. I silently sat down next to the disheartened Chocola. Like a gently setting sun, time passed by slowly. Her voice was so quiet that I wasn't quite sure if I had heard her or not. Even so, she answered clearly. Without saying a word, I responded by gently rubbing Chocola's head. Yeah. Yeah. God damn it, Chocola, you're breaking my heart. Her voice trembled as she frantically wiped away her tears. She stifled her sobbing and her voice became strained. She looked pained as she did her best to hold back her emotions, biting her lips. I held back my irresponsible words that were on the brink of coming out with all my strength. Yeah, of course I will. Oh, she was being so brave. I was frustrated at myself for saying nothing. I was empty. I could only offer condolences that could not be put into words. I rubbed Chocola's head as gently as I could. I don't really think I'm kind at all. And it's hard to argue with him. Before? Chocola closed her eyes and smiled. Are we going to flash back? Ah, of course I remember that. Yes, we're going to flash back. It was a cold day half a year ago. Chocola and Vanilla were huddled together, crying by the side of the road. They were still so young, they couldn't even speak yet. It was that day that I embraced their small, cold bodies and took them home with me. There was no way I could simply forget that important day when our family grew. Okay, so it wasn't quite the flashback I thought, but okay. In the beginning, you two really couldn't get used to things at home. You two wouldn't eat at all, which really worried Shigure. I started to hear a tiny bit of laughter in her voice as we reminisced about the past. Ah, I definitely do remember that. Is this a flashback now? It was a few days after we brought Chocola and Vanilla home. Wow, cat girls grow quickly, don't they? At that point, they'd only occasionally drink some water. And as always, they didn't really touch their food. The combination of malnourishment and cold weather had really begun to weaken their bodies. They both developed high fevers and were in pain. I can only imagine.
声も出せなくて、手も足も全然動かなくて、助けて、誰か助けてって思いながら、ただただ泣いてたんです。そしたら
It's alright, I'm with you too, so don't worry.
主人様が大きくてあったかい手で撫でてくれたんですよね。ずっとそばで大丈夫大丈夫って言い続けてくれて、ショコラとバニラのこと撫で続けてくれてました。朝になって病院に行くまでずっとそばにいてくれて、不安で心細かったのが全部嘘だったみたいに。あの時も同じこと言ってました。俺は別に優しくなんかないって。
Okay, I take it back. I take it all back.
主人様が助けてくれなかったらここにいなかったです。あの時ご主人様がそばにいてくれなかったら誰も信じられないままでした。ご主人様のおかげでご飯も食べれるようになりました。しぐれちゃんともみんなとも仲良くなりました。だからあの時からショコラのご主人様はご主人様になったんです。ショコラはそれからずっと優しいご主人様のことが大好きなんですよ。
Oh, that's so cute. I wish that her tear-filled eyes would not spill over. Those tears were filled with anxiety, sadness, and happiness. She smiled all she could before me.
だからショコラはご主人様がいなくなっちゃうって聞いて、いても立ってもいられなくて、どうしても一緒に行きたくて、しぐれちゃんにお願いをしたんです。
She said that with the faintest of smiles, one that seemed as if it would disappear at any moment. Those words were so gentle and warm, but there was also an undeniable sadness and emptiness mixed in with them. Chocola. I was the one she was saying all this to. Even so, the only thing I could say back to her was her name.
お金のこととか難しいことはやっぱり猫にはわからないです。でもやっぱりショコラはご主人様のそばにいたいんです。ご主人様が辛くて大変そうなのなんとなくわかります。本当になんとなくですけど。
True, cats are very attuned to emotions.
掃除でもお洗濯でもお料理でもショコラがお手伝いできることは何でもしますから。今すぐにはできなくても絶対にちゃんとできるようになりますから。だからもう一度だけお願いしちゃダメでしょうか。ショコラはご主人様と一緒にいたいんです。
Chocola voiced her feelings clearly once again, and barely kept her tears from overflowing. Chocola, if you could be with me. I was engulfed by my inner thoughts which were ready to overflow. She yearned for me so earnestly. For her to so innocently believe in me, there should be no reason for me to be against it. That day, Chocolate and Vanilla became an important part of my family. As long as they were with me, the days would be bright and enjoyable. I was simply selfish for just leaving home like that. I didn't want to get my dear family wrapped up in my selfishness, or have them experience any unnecessary hardship because of me. And that's where you messed up, my friend. You two are important to me after all. Oh, look who's here. If only mankind could be more like that, eh? My inner conflict was disrupted by Vanilla. Vanilla had returned at some point, and she looked straight at me as she sat at Chocola's side.
え辛いことでもショコラと一緒にいたいと思う。だって一緒にいれないことの方が寂しくて辛いから。
Vanilla.
本当に好きなら迷惑かけたって一緒にいたい。それでも一緒にいたいものだと思う。私たちが幸せかどうかなんていくらご主人でも決めつけるのは違うと思うよ。
Absolutely. 100% Vanilla, I'm with you.
それに大事な人が大変ならなおさらそばにいたい。何ができるかはわからないけど、でも辛い時にそばで励ますことくらいできるよ。
It was as if her gentle, warm, and soft smile had become the setting sun. These uncharacteristic words from Vanilla deeply penetrated and seeped into my heart.
だからきっとしぐれも私たちがご主人のところについていくのを許してくれた。しぐれはご主人と一緒に行くことはできないから代わりにお願いって。だからご主人が本当にショコラのことを思うなら一緒にいるべきだと思う。
There was not even the faintest bit of hesitation. They were such honest and absolutely straightforward words. Who am I to dictate Chocola and Vanilla's happiness? Only those words continued to strongly resonate in my mind, which was otherwise empty.
たとえ何不自由のない暮らしでもご主人様がいないのは嫌なんです。いくら大変でもショコラはご主人様と一緒にいたいんです。だからお願いします。ご主人様のそばにいさせてください。ここがショコラがいたい場所なんです。
Oh, so much sugar. I'm dying. She was on the verge of tears, but Chocola's face lit up. They were nothing but absolutely pure, genuine words. Humans really are at a loss for words when it comes to cat girls, huh? Saying no to their words was not something I could bring myself to do. I don't think many people could, to be fair. I certainly couldn't. Mind you, I wouldn't really be opposed to them being there in the first place. It's nice to have a companionship when you're all alone, after all. It won't be like it was back at home. You can't just live here however you like, got it? Happy times!
やれやれ、ついにご主人陥落。いやよいやよも好きのうちだね。
The dreary moment seemed to be blown away by her dazzling smile. Despite all this talk about family, perhaps I was the one that didn't really believe in it. Thinking about all this from their perspective, it was very simple. Although I thought it was all still so immature. Perhaps catgirls were more human than humans were when it came to honesty. Certainly sounds it. From here on out, we need to do our best all together. Oh, they are so funny. Is that all you guys have been eating at home? Even if the road ahead of us is uncertain, I lovingly rub their heads, disheveling their hair. Boom! And I think that'll be all for today. So let's just say goodbye for now. I'm sure we'll see each other again.